And welcome to another edition of Politico here on CTV1. I am your host, Ron, of course, joined with my co-host. Okay, is it Earl or is it Willie?
Earl.
We had
my
a debate
friends
about
call me
this
Earl.
last
My
week.
friends
It
call
was
me
like-
Earl. You're my friend now, Ron.
Okay, so
You've been
don't
promoted.
call me Willie Earl.
Well, when they hear Willie Earl, oh, you from the country? Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I just.
yeah,
I like Earl. I think.
Okay,
Earl's
so
appropriate.
we'll stick with Earl.
my friends call me Earl.
Okay,
You're
so
my friend.
so we're gonna call Earl. Earl is here, and we have a very special guest here this afternoon. As you can see,
My fan.
we have Miss Arvella.
Arvella.
Arvella Clare.
Yes.
She is a former school board candidate for District 4 here in Lee County. And of course, we want to discuss several issues this evening, but we want to start off this evening in Ms. Clare's comfort zone. So we're going to talk about the school board.
Yes.
All right. The school board, those of you who may not be aware, and unfortunately, not very many of us, again, are paying attention to the election and that little ballot that came in the mail that you threw on top of the refrigerator and never looked at again because you're not going to vote until the next presidential election. That little thing, it has on there this little vote that you could put in there about expanding the number of seats in this school district. So first things first, let's get your opinion about first that measure that would
Yes.
expand the number of seats. And of course, also we want to discuss what you think of that and will it be effective?
The single-member districts. That's the proposal that will be on your ballot, and we're hoping that members of the community will vote yes. This is an opportunity to not only move towards single-member districts, but to actually add 2 additional members to the school board. So we'll have 2 at-large members and 5 single-member districts. This won't actually take effect until the next 4 years. So, but on the ballot, please vote yes on this proposition. It was unanimously supported by all of our current school board members, and it's an opportunity to actually expand and to have better representation on the school board. So when we transition to 7 members, we'll have the 2 at large that will be up in 2 years, and we'll have 2 of the single member district seats available as well. So this is an opportunity for us to expand representation, to get the community more engaged, and to actually allow more candidates to run for the office of school board.
Okay, I want to address that from a conservative viewpoint.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
I'm looking at this as, yet again, government trying to grow. Okay, can we not address single-member districts and keep the same size school board?
And that's one of the problems with the current structure, the hybrid system. We're actually going to be operating within the existing boundaries. So we're not actually going to expand the boundaries that are covered, or the representation from different areas may still be a challenge for achieving that result. So what we're actually doing is working within the confines of the current boundaries, and we're going to expand and have 2 members that actually run at large and represent the entire community. So in the future, you'll be allowed to vote for 2 representatives, even from your district, because the 2 at large will still be voted on by the community at large.
I wouldn't think it would be expanding government as far as putting 2 more chairs into the meeting and sliding over or something like that.
That's expanding by definition.
That's expanding by definition.
But it's
But I don't think it's a
necessary.
money-wise, how can we afford to pay 2 more chairs up there? There have been a lot of 3-2 votes. They could have
Yes.
swung the other way. There's a lot of, you can do switch to 4-3. It still might not change anything, but that gives us, as Lee County representatives, as Lee County residents, more voice, a bigger opportunity, especially on the election years, if they're not doing what they need to do, we can clean house. This one's gone, this one gone, this one gone. Yeah, four seats that are going to be up. And that kind of gives us a more opportunity to clean house if we need to every 2 years.
Okay, you're adding to the bureaucracy, which is already killing our students. And not literally, of course. I mean, not literally. But at this point, the bureaucracy is so thick, just with 5. So now we add 2 more voices, okay? And here's what I really want to understand. Why can't we go for single member, keep 5, and have proper representation that way? I just don't see how expanding to 7. I know you say it's not expanding, and I'm not really concerned about them being paid. I'm more concerned with those are 2 more voices that want some input in what our kids need.
I think it's necessary to have those 2 additional voices,
Okay.
because of the size of our district.
Yeah.
You know, we are larger, our district is larger than some states, so most states. So we have to take that into consideration. We have this large one system that's responsible for representing 86,000 students. We need to make sure that there are voices on that board that actually have an opportunity to learn the issues in each specific district.
Okay.
And asking 5 people to take on a district this large and be accountable to all the schools is asking not to get adequate representation, is asking not to let those schools most in need have a voice and someone on that board advocating to address their needs.
Okay.
So this expansion, given our size, is absolutely necessary.
And it's not really coming from Lee County. It's really coming from the state level.
That's correct.
That they're looking at
I don't
states
think they
that
should
are
have anything to do with it.
states that other counties in the state of Florida that are our size or smaller might already have 7. So
Yes.
why are we still kind of holding on to 5 people controlling everything that's going on? That if I have my vote is 20% of everything that's going on, no matter what. If that drops a little bit, I'm going to have to cooperate a little bit more. I'm going to have to compromise a little bit more. I'm going to have to give and take a little bit more to have my same sphere of influence. And that's going to force me to have to work a little bit with everybody.
Now, that's the conservative argument I've been hearing in the community, that they want the opportunity to be able to vote for all 5 members.
Right.
And that seems to be some of the biggest pushback we're getting right now regarding single-member districts.
Okay.
But the at-large system has been in place since the 50s. You know, and the opportunity to actually have a board that actually represents our community is going to be, harder to achieve within at-large system.
Okay.
At-large is very expensive. I mean, I just went through that process as a candidate, and raising the money and getting the support that you need for the name recognition that you need so that you can actually win a seat is something that minorities haven't been able to accomplish.
And I agree with you there. One thing, you guys will never get me to agree that having more voices in is going to make things easier to get done. I will never agree with that. But now, this is at the risk, because I definitely offended someone who was a big supporter of yours when you were running, because I mentioned this. You were running for the school board in this district, okay? You were at large. What I told that person then was, would it not be better to, especially even for you, and not saying that you not winning was a good thing, but if you win and we do not have single-member districts, the amount of support that you would have on that board would be next to none. You would end up not being able to get things done. When your frustration would come out, you would be made an example of. Now, this person felt that I was being, how did they put it? I was being racist. I was having more expectations for you than I would someone
Your
else.
other board members.
I was actually being protective of you, in my opinion.
Okay.
But the person very loudly told me, why should she be any different? And my point is that, okay, you would be the first.
Correct.
but the
Ever.
goal would be
Yes.
to not make you the last.
Correct.
And if you were in an unwinnable situation, whereas you were trying to represent minorities on a school board that does not have single-member districts, you would be the first and you would be the last for a very long time because you would be pushed out, and you would the message that would be sent to our district-wide voting block would be, see, we got one in and she caused all kinds of trouble.
Okay. Okay.
And that's because we are not at the point of having single-member districts. Now, aside from the expanding to 7 again, which I disagree with, but aside from that, if we do not have single-member districts, how would you expect to be successful being elected to that type of school board?
Okay, let me clarify
Okay.
that this wasn't my district. I'm
Right,
in District
I
4,
understand.
which is Cape Coral.
But when you talk
But
wide,
when you're talking an at-large
You can
system,
represent.
I was just as responsible for getting over here and to get the community engaged, because it's about letting the voters know that you're out there and what you see the concerns of the community being, and then being able to represent them on the board with addressing the needs of that community.
right.
But the at-large system, the disadvantage for a candidate is that not only did I have to be over here in Fort Myers, in the Dunbar community, I had to be in Cape Coral, I had to be in Lehigh, I had to be in Bonita, I had to be all over this huge
North
district.
Fort Myers.
And it's hard to communicate or to come in touch with the voters. And I was out every day and night. You know, I was at groups, I was at meetings, I was talking to people
Debates,
wherever,
forums.
debates and forums, I did it all. But the reality is I probably came in contact with 10% of the voting public. You know, that's the obstacle. You know, if you are not able to raise the money, if you're not able to get your message out in a countywide race,
Signs.
it's impossible to be successful.
Okay.
So I think this single-member district gives us an opportunity to say, we're going to actually be able to elect someone from the Dunbar community. Everybody's going to be able to invest in them. And I don't think the challenge is going to be a minority on the board with
Right.
other white board members. I think the challenge is going to be making sure that you convey the issues of that community or the issues of that particular school to the point where you convince your fellow board members that you're there to do the best for our entire community. And that was my focus. How can I improve, you know, the quality of public education? Because I'm interested in improving, you know, all
For
of
everyone.
the outcomes for all of our students.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now, and again, and I'm not actually trying to beat this to death, but I do
Yes, he
want
is.
to know, how can you be successful
Yes.
if it's not single-member district?
Well,
Because,
that's-
and again,
you're right.
I heard some of the points that you made during the debates, and I heard you speak several times,
Yes.
and your focus was on minority participation
Correct.
and lowering the achievement gap, which I thought was great. But again, is it possible? And this is something that I guess it's probably a rhetorical question. Can you be successful as a minority on a district-wide board in Lee County, even if you were an African American on the commission, on the county commission? How can you be successful saying that you're going to have any kind of minority voting? I mean, minority representation under that type of leadership. Okay, we're going to break now, but when we come back, we'll continue that discussion. And of course, we want to expand the discussion. I'm just at the point now where I'm finding it very hard to believe that unless we start to address the foundational issues of our local voting,
Yes.
things aren't going to change. There's no way for it to change. That includes that what it's looking like, no matter what everyone is saying, the voter turnout so far is not looking good for minorities because we just do not engage for whatever reason. So Earl, Ron, Arvella, I got it now. Arvella, Clare. This is Politico on CTV 1, and we'll be right back.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, group.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
And we're back on Politico here on CTV One. I am Ron, RJ, and this is
Earl.
Arvella Clare. And Arvella Clare.
And Arvella Clare.
Sister.
All right, talking during the break, and I should have clarified where I was going with this. I am not opposed to single member districts at all. I am opposed to the expansion, but I'm not opposed to single member district. And I wanted to make that clear, that it's not that I'm against single member district, it's just that I do not see how a minority candidate can be successful on any of these commissions until we have single member districts.
You're right. It's going to give us a better opportunity to have minority representation. If there's a smaller population to work within and you have an opportunity to get your name out there and people know what your issues are and what your agenda is, and they can rally behind you and get out and vote.
Right. Okay, now, and I want to break out a 2x4. I'm going to let you break it out, okay?
Okay.
While we were in the break, you said that you spoke with about 10% of the voting population. So let's say 8,000 or so people. Now, a significant portion of that was minorities.
Correct.
What do we do about this, and for lack of a better term, lackadaisical approach towards voting that is plaguing the minority, especially the African American community, so that someone like yourself can get elected? And for you to get elected, for me, this was the easiest time, I'm being honest, because the low voter turnout means that a dog could actually get elected, because if only 10 people show up and 5 people say, you know what, I love Cocker Spaniel, and they vote for him, then that dog will be up there.
Yes.
Okay, so how do we address the issue of low voter turnout and not caring in the minority community about voting?
All right, but you know, we say small voter turnout, but we're still talking about 90,000 people, you know. We're still talking about a large, you know, district where you actually still have to get out there and make that contact. You have to raise the money to get your message out. And for this election cycle, we know that most people voted by mail. So that means you have to do a mailer. So the issue is money. It's so expensive to run a countywide race that even if you have candidates from the community that have the name recognition, getting their message out beyond their base is still an obstacle. So that's the issue, and that's the advantage of single-member districts. Now you're working with a smaller population. You have to get your message out to fewer people, and you can find that base to actually help motivate each other to get out and turn out the vote.
I think the other part about it is that, far as what I see, you, Arvella, were in the seat 4, going for District 4, which was Armstrong versus Two Bear, the rematch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Don Armstrong came and shocked the world. Like Muhammad Ali, I beat the world, I'm the best in the world. When he won, everybody that next Tuesday said, huh?
Absolutely.
What?
Absolutely.
And that was a part of Tom Scott, and he passed away. When him and Don Armstrong won, they were like, oh boy, that caught a lot of people's attention. There was a lot of rage going on because
Absolutely.
of the bus thing
The
that was
busing,
going on,
yes.
and that's what they campaigned on, changing the buses. I'm a caring grandfather, and we got too many people with degrees and all that other kind of stuff. We don't have any common sense. They got book sense, they don't have any common sense. And that was going from but Tom Scott's former seat was wide open. You had two people that were novices politically running for office. And I think if you were going for seat 5, you probably would have won.
Absolutely.
They did very well, but the fact that you were representing the area that you were representing, and that was Don Armstrong, was Two Bear, and he has, as a former school board member, and with his connections, he's connected to the construction industry.
Absolutely.
You can't drive down Metro without seeing signs everywhere for him and everything else like that. And Don Armstrong is against, it was David versus Goliath. And David, as being Don Armstrong, won the first time. So Goliath came back with all
the reinforcement.
4 years of saving up to get that
additional money.
The fact that you were in that zone and you still got 13,000 votes for you was a feather in your cap to me. I'm like, well, wow, that's a difference, because it was the focus of that race was, can this kind of off-center Armstrong beat Steve again? And that was really and it still is to a certain point. If you look politically,
of that race, yes.
That's where it was. It was you could have, I want to call you third party or something like that, because it's non-party affiliated as far as the school board, but that's the storyline for that district. And I wish it was 5 or 2 or something like that, because the storyline politically was, could Don beat him again?
Absolutely.
Or was the first time a fluke? Not about the kids, not about this or that, or the school performances and all that other kind of stuff like that. It was about a rematch.
Right. And I was hoping that it would be about something historic, like the first time electing a minority to the Lee County School Board in 125 years.
Ever.
So that motivated me to get out there and say it's time to move towards the future. You know, both of these gentlemen are our past. It's time to get someone that understands the needs of the majority of students in the public school system. They are minorities, and they need representation. They've never had it, and it's time to get someone on the board that actually can come up with solutions to address the problems that the majority of students are facing.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm hoping that you'll be able to make it in on a regular basis to discuss issues pertaining to the school board.
Absolutely.
Okay? And even addressing the single-member district issue, I think the fact that someone has actually had some skin in the game, had the knuckles bloodied in the fight, will help us understand it a whole lot better. Okay? Now, as far as African Americans not voting,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Charles Barkley says that it's because unintelligent blacks are brainwashed to keep successful black men down. Okay? Jess, can we play Charles Barkley?
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? Community.
Okay. All right, so we're having a little bit of technical issues, but we're going to get back to Charles. Those of you who are not intelligent enough to read and change the channel, and you're black,
Oh boy.
just want to let you know
Wow.
what Charles Barkley is saying. Now, when I hear stories like this, to me, the headline is like secondary. Okay, we're ready with it? Okay, we're going to hear some audio right now from Sir Charles Barkley, the round mound of rebound from Auburn University, who got cut from the Olympic team back in the 80s. And, I don't know if he graduated.
I'm not a role model.
He is rich, and he has spit on little white girls before. So,
Oh, boy.
But hearing what he has to say about the intelligence of other people was newsworthy this week. So we're going to have audio right now from Charles Barkley.
You know, for those people listening, Mike Freeman wrote a piece about Russell Wilson where he quoted unnamed players saying he wasn't black enough, that he was too much of a company guy and that sort of thing. Now, Mike disagreed with the statement, but some of the players said that. Is that the same case where, like, why would you hate Russell Wilson?
Well, unfortunately, as I tell my white friends, we as black people, we're never going to be successful, not because of you white people, because of other black people. When you're black, you have to deal with so much crap in your life from other black people. It's a dirty, dark secret. I'm glad it's coming out. It comes out every few years. I wrote a big chapter in my book about it, to be honest with you. I said, you know, when young black kids, you know, when they do well in school, the loser kids tell them, oh, you're acting white. The kids who speak intelligently,
Right.
They tell them you're acting white. So it's a dirty, dark secret in the black community. One of the reasons we're never going to be successful as a whole because of other black people. And for some reason, we are brainwashed to think if you're not a thug or an idiot, you're not black enough. If you go to school, make good grades, speak intelligent, and don't break the law, you're not a good black person. And it's a dirty, dark secret, Anthony. I heard Stephen A. talking about it. Listen, I hate to bring white people into our crap, but as a black person, we all go through it when you're successful. You know, it's like one of the reasons a lot of black players go broke is because when you're successful, your friends say, oh, you ain't cool, you ain't down with us anymore. And you end up giving up all your money to these damn losers, and you end up broke again.
Yeah.
But it's a dirty, dark secret in the black community that a lot of black people who are unintelligent, who don't have a success, it's best to knock a successful black person down because they're intelligent, they speak well, they do well in school, and they're successful. And they don't. I mean, think about it.
Well, it's crabs in a barrel, right?
It's crabs in a barrel. And it's the thing that's funny. We're the only race that tell people if you don't have street cred, which like that means you've been arrested.
Right.
Like that's a compliment. We're the only ethnic group who say, hey, if you go to jail, it gives you street cred. It's just typical BS that goes on when you're black, man. Don't waste a lot of time on it, please.
Okay, I haven't got my street cred up yet. I haven't gone to jail. Well, except for that one time, but I don't want to talk about it. Charles Barkley, when you think about intelligent men, African-American men, intelligent St. Bernards, Charles Barkley's name doesn't jump to the front of your mind. He made a generalized statement about all African-Americans. It was very, sorry, for lack of a better term, and being unintelligent and everything, ignorant statement for him to make. But he was on TV and he had a chance to make this comment. Now, to speak to a less broad point, he's right on some of it. He just grouped too much in.
Absolutely.
The reason that athletes go broke is because they have all these other people who are telling them they shouldn't be. Now, the reason they go broke is because they spend all their time being athletes and not reading and not working on other skills, and they allow other people to pull them down. By the way, that crabs in the barrel thing, no, that wasn't originated with African Americans, okay? That goes way, way back before us, and it's always been a concept of human beings that they try, if you and I are on the same social economic level, I hate to see, rather out of jealousy, rather miseducation or being uneducated, I don't want to see you rise above me because you'll be one more person looking down on me. Skin color has absolutely nothing to do with it. So that's not just a statement about African Americans when it comes to that crabs in the barrel thing. But in any case, what he has done more than anything else is give people who are racist an opportunity to come out and shout and say, look, we told you, finally one of them is telling the truth.
Ooh, let me tell you. The first thing that popped in my mind is when he said, I told my white friends, okay, wait a minute. Why would you, in my house, in Lehigh, East LA as we call it, what me and my wife and my kids talk about, that's something that stays in-house. That's what we talk about. In my church, what goes on in our 4 buildings is what we talk about, and that's our church business. We talk about what we need to do. We handle it in-house. In my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, I would not go up to you and say, you know what's wrong with alphas? We X, Y, and Z, and then the brothers in my chapter, X, Y, and Z. We don't do that. But when he said that, I tell my white friends that black people ain't going to get nowhere because they such and such and such. Well, excuse me, are you black? Did you get anywhere? So does your success, did you actually, out of nowhere, beat the odds as far as that? So because you can shoot a basketball, dunk a basketball, catch a basketball, because if it was not for his athletic prowess that he had, I ain't saying white men can't jump or nothing like that. If he wasn't a black man that could play basketball, would we even know of Charles Barkley? Would we have even heard and be discussing him?
But there was some significant people that played some roles and played important roles in his life. You know, we can't forget that mother and that father, those black people and teachers and community members that invested in him. So I think what he's saying is, as a species, we are packed animals. And we tend to associate with people that we have things in common with. And we know that that's something that's frequently talked about in the black community. And I asked a question earlier. If there's a problem and we know there's an issue in the black community, why is there a need to keep it a secret? If we talk about it and put it out there in the open, we have an opportunity to actually address it and bring about change. So I'm not so offended by what Charles had to say, because I know it's discussion we have among ourselves all the time. So allowing the wider community to engage in this conversation and hear the different perspectives from black people about our associations and interactions, I think that's going to give us the tools we need to help improve our community. Because we all know that that is an issue. We all heard about the crab bucket syndrome and how if someone is moving towards success, the people around them that have their niche are already at that level of power, they will do nothing to assist that person in getting to the next level. That's what we need to discuss. We need to discuss how we can break through that glass ceiling within our own community, engage and invest in each other, and help move each other up towards the next level. Because I think that's one of the issues we know we are definitely struggling with in the black community.
But how does I tell my white friends bring about change? What do those white friends care about trying to help that situation? Or are you putting your people on blast and saying, I don't know what's wrong with them crazy jokers over there? You know what? I do know what's wrong with them, because I used to be over there with them, but I'm with you now. But all that stuff don't apply to me anymore because I have X amount of dollars in my bank account just like you do, and I'm a celebrity and I'm a millionaire. So I have, and it begs of accept me. Accept me. I'm not over there anymore. I'm with you guys. And let me tell you what their dirty, dark secrets are because I used to be over there with them. And that reeks of classism more than racism.
But
to
didn't
me.
you just mention that this isn't a black phenomenon? It's not something that's
It's
just
a socioeconomic phenomenon. But here's the thing. And Charles has a right, of course, to say it when he wants, where he wants, and that's fine. And let's remember we're talking about Charles Barkley, not Einstein. Okay? So I think when he said that I tell my white friends, that was that was on a scale of 1 to 10 as ignorance. That was a 35. Okay? It was stupid, but it was Charles Barkley. Okay? So that part aside, the bigger issue is that we do end up in situations where we are not supportive of one another. And I have gone in and I've spoken with kids who, I remember going into a detention center and speaking with kids, and when I said I had never been to jail, they actually told me I was lying. You lying, you've been to jail. Because every black person that they knew had gone, these are the white kids too. You've been to jail. You can't say you know, because and the point being that they wanted me to have gone to jail because they liked me. And they didn't feel that we could have anything in common if I didn't admit that I had gone to jail. So what has happened in our community, and I got a lot of flack for it when we were doing radio, I said that there are certain people who were drug dealers in our community that I don't think deserve to even have the bottom of your shoe wiped with them because they destroyed our community. Oh, you shouldn't mention their name. Their grandkids are going to hear about it. They didn't give a damn about their grandkids when they were out there destroying the community, but don't say nothing about them now. So my point is, that's not pulling someone down because you point out that it is unintelligent for us to not get up and go out and vote. That we will run out and say we're going to stand in line for 6, 7, 8 hours to vote in a national election, but the elections that have so much of a direct impact on our everyday lives, we sit at home for. Or we got better football season or basketball season started. We'd rather be there doing that. So we do not take advantage of opportunities that are presented to us. The issue with Charles Barkley, once we get past the semantics of what he said, the point that he made, I think, was a good one. And it is one that we have discussed openly in most cases. And it is a fact that we need to bring it from behind closed doors, in my opinion. We need to bring it from behind closed doors and discuss it. Bill Cosby was how can I say it, lambasted? Because I'm country.
Close enough.
But he was just publicly almost crucified for saying that black guys need to pull up their pants, okay? He shouldn't say that to whites and all. He was talking to a predominantly black audience when he said it. He wasn't hiding. He didn't go on Rush Limbaugh and say it. He stood in front of a packed house of African American people and made these observations, which many of us say. The only difference is that so many of us are afraid of our young men that we don't go out and address the issues that are going on with them. So when Charles Barkley brings up we as a people, like I said, it's not Nero addressing the Roman Colosseum, or it's not Shakespeare, it's Barkley. Okay, so we have to look at that. And secondly, we have to start addressing these issues at some point. And guys, I'm going to segue into the gentleman who was the president of the Atlanta Hawks. He put out a statement several months ago about the demographics that were coming to Atlanta Hawks games, and that he wanted to change that and address it. And then he all but resigned to sell his shares of the Atlanta Hawks because people said that it was racist. What he said was a marketing strategy. It made perfect sense that he doesn't want people who act like thugs coming to the games and scaring away other people who may want to come to the games and bring their families. But he was called a racist. So my biggest thing with that is, guys, when can we discuss race in this? We can't even discuss it amongst ourselves, saying that there's some stupid behind black people out there. We can't even say that publicly. How in the world are we ever going to address this issue with being black and saying you're going to be this and you're going to be that, and at the same time wanting your share of that American dream? When do we start to discuss it?
I think with the Atlanta Hawks thing, I'm sorry. You are in Atlanta, Georgia, one of the blackest cities in the United States of America.
Does that mean that now
No,
you
no,
should
no, no,
accept
no,
thugs because it's
no.
predominantly black?
You have to know your real estate is about location, 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 right?
Right.
If he was in Salt Lake City, if he was in Utah, would he have those demographic issues? No, he wouldn't.
Right.
If he was in, you wouldn't hear Jerry Jones talking about it's too many Hispanics that come to my Cowboys game or something like that.
If there were too many Hispanics coming there and acting up, you would.
But
I don't think he was. I think he's smart enough to not say something that dumb.
What the gentleman said,
and then offend.
He did not say anything. He was nice about it, actually. He wasn't nearly as, how can I put it, authentic as he should have been. Because what he was discussing was a marketing strategy to bring more people in that were not going to have a thuggish behavior. They want the NBA to be a family, wholesome sport. We're going to come back and we're going to get on that. There's a couple of things that we want to address before we leave. Wow, time is flying. Okay, we want to discuss a girl fight, if you can call it that. And, of course, Andrew Faust Jr. We want to discuss that issue also. And we'll wrap this discussion up about Barkley and unintelligent black people when we come back, if we're smart enough to come back. So, this is Politico on TV1, CTV1. We'll be right back.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560. Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio.
Back on Politico here on CTV1. I am RJ, and we've got Earl, and we've got Arvella. See? I had it.
Very good.
Okay, now we're having a very good discussion, and as you can tell, no blood. We haven't pulled out any guns, and I haven't threatened to go to my car and get my 9. We're having a very good discussion, however, about the Atlanta Hawks general manager that sent out an email that some purported to be racist, and others, like myself, said no, it was a marketing strategy. I thought it made sense, but
I think the issue about it is he wanted to, Adam Levinson, I think that's his name. He wanted to find out a way to get the southern white population, the demographic, to come back to basketball, come back to the arena and be season ticket holders, and not about families. It's about having white families, more white families
no, it was
involved.
about having affluent families involved.
He said he wasn't enough black affluent people to get as far as what his concern was. But his concern was, and he said, and I loosely quote, he said the blacks were scaring away the whites. And that's something that he backpedaled on a lot and was about to sell it and everything else. But the blacks, the white, southern whites were uncomfortable coming to Hawks games
So is
because
that wrong?
of the black crowd.
Is that wrong?
I think it's when you get involved in basketball, a sport that's dominated by minorities,
Okay.
in a southern state that's a city that's basically the black capital of the United States of America.
Okay.
And we can call that Atlanta, and the other part of Chocolate City maybe be the D.C., Maryland, Baltimore area, Virginia, that little area right there. But you think they have these same problems in baseball across the street, across the way from him? No, you don't.
Right.
Are blacks attracted to baseball like
Not
they
really.
are basketball?
No.
You don't see that.
Right.
So
maybe
that's
you wouldn't see that. You don't
that's-
read that email.
you don't have the Braves owner wouldn't have to write that email that the blacks are scaring away my white base, and I can't get any white people in here.
Right.
Because blacks aren't attracted to baseball. If there's in general, you've seen the last, I'll say 25 years, the number of African Americans that play Major League Baseball and college baseball and even high school baseball has dwindled almost to nothing. You see a minority, you see a black guy, 99% of the time, I'll say 90% of the time, they're Hispanic.
Okay.
Even on the minor league thing, you will see somebody, oh, there's a black guy, and here's Pedro, such and such. And you're like, oh, okay, I've gone to the Miracle games.
I understand. You're saying that they could have been a little more diplomatic in terms of how they had the discussion and look towards bringing in more affluent black families, or look towards making things a little more diverse so you bring in other cultures. But the way that he made the statement and that email seemed to suggest that there was something wrong with having a large black population at these events. So I understand your point. You know, make it an economic issue, and then you won't offend a large population.
But you see, that's what he did.
Supporters.
And that's why I say that when you have an email that's this benign, and the guy is pointing out 55% of the season tickets that are being sold to whites and corporations. They are not comfortable bringing corporation clients to an arena that's 90% black. Why is it 90% black? Well, because the first few years we were here, in order to up the amount of people in the sellout games, we were giving away tickets to the predominantly black community. The lower cost tickets are going predominantly to the black community. When we have concerts, it's hip hop or gospel. What he's saying is this is a programming issue, and we need to address that. He's not saying I don't want black people at the games. He's saying that these people who are coming aren't buying season tickets. These people who are coming are actually scaring away the people that would buy season tickets. Now, if he did not even mention blacks in this email, he would still be right. If you have a crowd that is not allowing people to come in, if I don't feel safe taking my daughter to a game because I know some knucklehead is who has no control over anything that he has to say, this is some knucklehead that has any control over what he's going to say and how he's going to say it and who he says it in front of, then I'm going to think twice about going to that game. And yes, I will go join the folks over at the other ball field that know how to act. Now, Ebbets Field, the reason the Dodgers left New York was the exact same reason. Branch Rickey looked around and he said, wait a minute. He saw a Hispanic guy, excuse my language, piss in a bottle and throw it on the field. And he got upset and said, what am I doing here? I need to get out of here. So he wanted to get out of Brooklyn because of that. They ended up moving across country because of that. Now, I'm trying to do two things at once. Okay, I got a little message there. So when you start talking about racism, we have to be very careful that we don't start saying every little thing that comes out is all about race. When I read that from the beginning to the end, what I thought about was that it was about marketing. The guy was not being racist whatsoever. If we want to sell tickets to corporations, and I don't see any fathers and sons coming to the game, but I want that. But an RJ or even, well, maybe not, a FAMU alpha man is okay coming to the game. He don't care who they are, all right? That's fine. But you're going to keep an RJ from bringing his daughter there because RJ don't want to get fighting, stabbed, and shot trying to defend his daughter's honor because some knucklehead saying something stupid, okay? So I understand exactly where he is coming from, and what it was going to do is it was going to end up getting in a situation where that team was going to end up going bankrupt, and he would be absolutely right. If you can't sell, and this is the biggest thing in professional sports, you have to sell corporate sponsorships, you have to sell season tickets. And if you cannot do that, your team is not long going to be around.
But my point of it is, who said, Mr. Atlanta Hawks CEO or owner, you need to go to the black community and give out tickets to them?
The NFL.
The
NFL did it.
The NBA did not say you need to do what you want to do and take. You can go to this population. You can go to this school. You can do whatever you want because they are free tickets.
Gosh.
But
Earl,
he can't complain that I did what I did.
If he had taken those tickets and given them to whites, you would say, "Oh my God, you see this? He gave away tickets, but only to the white people."
Why don't
No.
we talk about strategy?
If he did exclusively white.
We want it both ways.
No,
we want to make sure that we're included, but then when someone calls us on our bull stuff, we want to slow up. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Can you believe this? And we all know the same thing happened with Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders gave away shoes to North Fort Myers. What did everybody want to know? Now that benefited a whole lot of African American kids. What did everybody want to know? How come he ain't come in Dunbar and get a shoe? How come? See, we can't have it both ways. Either we have to start becoming mature enough to say, okay, I can look at this and I can see what this gentleman is talking about. Because it's a lot of concerts. I like hip hop. Okay, I love country, but I like hip hop. It's some hip hop concerts that I would go to. Not. Why? Because I work security for hip hop concerts, and I know the kind of idiots that come to the hip hop concerts. I don't care. I worked at a club. They had different genres all the time. Hip hop night, I knew I was going to be there at 3 o'clock.
So
I knew
we
the parking lot was going to get pepper sprayed because of the people that were coming in. So we have to stop saying, okay, don't call us on our BS. Just keep accepting us for who we is.
No, let's just say, let's look for strategies to make our population more diverse. I mean, you can be sensitive and not offend people by saying we need to change the demographic.
But that's what he
We need
said.
to make our program more inclusive.
He said these blacks are scaring the white
we
people
don't
away.
need
That's what he
to
said.
bring in that element
But
of
he
fear.
was right. And he even said that the blacks were scaring away even the black affluent people. The people that were coming were scaring away all of those people.
What he did
It
was create a mess. He
It was
created
a
a
business
mess
situation.
because
But you know what?
he wasn't sensitive to the population that he was speaking to,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that if you're going to speak truth, make sure it's not offensive.
Okay.
You can be honest without being offensive, and I think that was a major mistake in his leadership.
Okay, let me ask you a
You
question.
have to wait. Let me, I have to address what you spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
If he went and I said it again, if you need to sell out you need to sell out the store, you need to sell out the arena.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go to the hood and give these poor black kids tickets. There are poor white kids in
isn't that what we
Atlanta.
always
There are
shout
poor
that people should
Hispanic
do?
kids. No.
Yes.
No, that is not true. If you want, you can't have it both ways on his end either. If he wants to give out, but wait, if he wants to say, I don't want to get, I don't want, that's too many black kids there, and they have this little attitude and all this other stuff, and I have to deal with this. Don't exclusively give tickets to that demographic. There's nobody, he is the owner, he is the CEO, he can do whatever he wants to do. But if he exclusively doesn't, he never gives tickets to any minorities, then we got a problem.
Okay.
If he get
Well, you don't have
if
to
he gives
talk
tickets
about people. You don't have to
exclusively
talk about the population
to
or
minorities,
race.
then the other white people say, why you never give the white people
Why don't
tickets?
you talk about
so that's
changing
something about
the entertainment? Change the entertainment.
But then-
Make the entertainment more about rock or heavy metal.
And
That's
that's
going to
exactly-
give you diversity in
that's
your
what he's
population.
saying.
But
But
if the entertainment is skewed towards the black population,
Guess who's gonna
guess
come?
what you're going to get?
that's the other part
They
about
will
it. But
come.
that has nothing to do.
They selling chicken
that has,
wings.
That has
They
nothing
got
to
the best
do
chicken wings in town.
with black
What do you mean?
or white.
Fried
That has to do with
chicken.
if he wanted
Yes,
to
it
have
does.
those demographics, he can go to Seattle.
Well,
He can take the horse to Seattle, and he won't have all these black people in there because the population of blacks
I'm with
in
Earl. I'm with
Washington
Earl.
is not as
Earl.
strong and as
Leadership.
concentrated as it is in
Leadership.
Atlanta.
Earl.
You're in
It's
Atlanta,
about
Georgia.
being able to convey to your employees your message, your vision, and do it in a way
Okay.
that motivates them to make change occur.
Right.
He didn't do that. What he did was ended up offending probably a lot of his black employees.
Let me before
who
you
in turn
before
leaked
you
this
before
document.
you keep saying this, I want to ask you something.
Yes.
You don't like cats. Not that she doesn't like cats, okay?
Okay. I love
And if
cats.
you say you don't like cats and that you talk about the fact that you once strangled a cat and you send that email to your husband, remember that cat I strangled? And somebody sees that email and they leak it out, okay? You have no control over that.
Absolutely.
Right? So that was something that was between you and your husband. This was an email that was sent between he and his marketing and managing team.
Absolutely.
Okay? 90% black, let's go back into that. The Detroit Pistons were once in Detroit. Why did they move to Auburn Hills? Because black people was coming to the games and, hey, Charles, you there? Didn't know how to act. So this is a problem. This is an issue, and we need to address that. Okay? Don't say that this white guy who wants to sell season tickets and make his team profitable is wrong for saying that he wants to start bringing in more family-oriented people, and he cannot do that because of the base that they have there.
I don't think either one of us are saying he was wrong. We said his approach was wrong.
But it
You know,
wasn't.
absolutely.
If
It
you
is
can, as
absolutely
benign
wrong.
as
You
this
can
was,
bring about change
wrong.
without being offensive.
And he
but he
said it
wasn't
was
bottom
wrong.
offensive. Okay, what
He
did he say that
wasn't
was
offensive
offensive?
to you.
Okay, what
He
did he
was
say that was
offensive
offensive?
to Earl. He was
offensive
offensive
to
to
Okay,
me.
what did he say? I want to
He
know
was
so I can
offensive.
address it one at a time. What did he say that was offensive?
Well, he is excusing.
No.
All right, let me pull it
What
out.
did he say?
He
that
said
was
blacks.
offensive?
These blacks are scaring the southern whites
Nope.
away. Yes,
That's not
he
what
did.
he said.
I will read
He
it.
said
Let
that
me
the
pull it
southern
up.
whites, the southern
Don't feel
whites
comfortable.
are scared
Don't
and
feel
don't feel comfortable coming there. That's what he said.
Okay.
That's not saying, oh my God, them niggas scan them people. And I don't even
He
use that word.
basically
Here we go.
said
Here we
that. He
go.
basically
I'm reading.
said
I'm
that.
quoting. My theory is that the black crowd scared away the whites.
He did not say that.
I'm reading the quote.
Somebody lying in that
My
article.
theory said, my theory is that the black crowd scared away the whites and that there are simply not enough affluent black fans to
Oh my
build a
gosh.
significant season ticket base, Levinson said in the email released Sunday
Let me
by
ask
the
you a
Hawk.
question.
Please don't get me wrong. There was nothing threatening going on in the arena back then. I never felt uncomfortable, but I think Southern whites simply were not comfortable being in an arena or
Why do
at
you-
a bar where
Why do
they
you think
were
he used
in the
term
minority.
Southern?
Right.
Why do you think he used the term
Because he's
Southern
in
whites?
Atlanta. Because he's in
No,
Atlanta.
no, no. What's the issue with Southern whites?
He's in Atlanta.
And?
they're in the South.
And
It doesn't mean that the people are racist.
What does
he
it
said-
mean?
Okay, here's the
What does
thing.
it mean?
Here's the thing.
What he
Arvella-
said.
Here's the thing. Arvella.
They are
and
uncomfortable.
He said they're
They're
uncomfortable. But what
uncomfortable.
else did he say? That
They're
black.
scared away.
No. Black affluent people are also uncomfortable.
I
Okay.
didn't-
The fact
I
is.
didn't see that.
Okay,
Was
let me
that there?
read
I think
that
you
for
made
you.
that
Oh
up.
no. That part
He
is
said there
there.
are not enough black affluent.
There are
Yeah,
not.
But
no,
he didn't say
no.
blacks or
In
black affluent
Atlanta,
are
who believes
afraid
that?
of that.
Who believes there aren't
That's something
enough
that you're
in
making
Atlanta?
up there.
Me?
Why? Why do you believe
Because
that?
enough black affluent people to come to the game?
Yes.
Because I know a lot of black affluent people. Not,
You know them
I'm
all.
not one of them.
You know them all.
But here's the thing. They don't come, and again, it goes back to, like I said, I don't want my wife and my daughter subjected to some of the things that some of these people are going to bring. Okay? That's a fact. Now, if me as an African American, who I consider myself not to be afraid of anybody, doesn't want to subject my family to it, I certainly don't expect some Southern white
Okay.
to come to the game with
All
his
we're
family.
talking about is a choice of words. There are ways
But,
to,
okay.
to
Why?
complete
Okay,
your... Let me
political
finish.
correctness
Let
is
me
killing
finish.
us.
Let me finish. There are ways not to offend any population, and part of your skills as a leader of a team, is not to offend, number one, your team, which I'm sure is minority, majority black, right?
Right.
Is not to offend them,
And they're gonna
you
go
know,
out there and
and
play
not to
regardless.
offend the population that you hope to come support this team.
Okay.
You can get the same results and use a better choice of words and accomplish the same agenda. Make it about economics, make it about opportunity and the entertainment that you provide at this arena.
Thank you. You said exactly what I wanted to hear.
Now
This is obviously a sensitive topic, but sadly, I think it is far and away the number one reason our season ticket base is so low, and many of our black fans don't have the spendable income, which explains
They're
why our F&B and
They're
merchandise sales. But Arvella, what is he talking about throughout? What is the one theme that is present during this entire email? Economics.
Yes.
The guy said it.
Yes.
Now, and here's my point about it, and this has always been my point. We have to stop this, oh my God, he said blacks. Oh my God, he shouldn't have said that. There was no way he could have said anything about the demographics that were coming to it. If he just said demographics, we'd be sitting here saying, I can read between the lines. Just like you said, Southern white. Who is he talking about? He's talking about Redneck Charlie and his crew don't want to come to the game. We would be doing the exact same thing.
Okay.
Reading between the lines. There is no proper way to say it because we have made it impossible. We have made it impossible for just about anyone to discuss race in an open manner and be, you know, one of the hardest things we tried back when the racist thing was going on. We tried to get a group of whites to come in and sit down with us after Trayvon Martin. I got a whole lot of whites that said they wanted to do it. Then they all came back and said, no, we can't do it. Every single one of them. Why? Because they were worried that if they came in and had a frank discussion on race, they would be considered racist. If a letter, if an email this benign, we can't handle that, how in the world do we ever address race issues in this
We're
community?
Here we
not
go.
saying we can't
Here we
handle
go.
it.
Here we
We're
go.
saying
But you got to
choose,
say it in a nice
you
way.
don't have to be offensive.
But
That's
he
what I'm saying.
wasn't.
You can
Read what
accomplish the
this
same.
says. Added
Same
Levinson
goal.
in the email. I had even bitched that the kiss cam is too black. That has nothing to do with economics.
Where in the world is... I'm reading the official
This
email.
is
Not
ESPN right
enough of
there.
our
Owner
fans
Bruce
wear
Levinson
jerseys.
selling the Hawks.
We realize it's
This
simply...
is from September.
No, and I'm thinking that you're reading something. Okay, in the past 2 years, we have created a section, listen to this, guys, a section of rowdy college students, not rowdy African Americans, Negroes, black people, rowdy college students that has been a big plus. And we do a lot of very clever stuff during timeouts to entertain the crowd. Our kiss cam is better done than any in the league.
So I'm
trying to find
there's
this.
too many black people kissing.
That article or blog that you're reading.
Look it up. Look it up.
But we can
This
talk
has nothing to
about
do with economics.
And let's go
That
back
comment he made has nothing to do with economics. He
This,
said,
I'm
Excuse me.
Too
sorry.
many black people
I'm
kissing
sorry,
on
Earl.
the kiss
He
cam.
said the
This
kiss
is
cam is
something
too
that
black.
happens- This is something that happens all the time.
You can't excuse that.
Especially with liberals.
RJ, you
okay?
can't excuse
They
that.
always
You can't excuse
misquote.
that. All
They
right.
always misquote and just straight up make up facts
All right.
that are non-existent. Now I'm looking at the
You sure?
original email. I'm looking
You're
at the
looking-
original email, and that what you just, it's not in there.
He said
guys.
it's too many black people.
Why would
That's the bottom line. He said too many black
Look,
people.
that's the
hurting
original.
our.
There-
You said, who
That's
said
in that
bottom line?
email. Let me see what you read.
Too much black
It's
entertainment.
hurting our.
It's hurting our bottom line.
Thank you.
Our bottom line.
I
Address
added
your bottom
Levinson
line.
in the
Leave race
email.
out of it. That should have been his approach.
I
He
have
didn't
even
do
bitched
that.
that the
If the
kiss cam
audience-
is
You're
too
talking
black.
about
The
economics.
guy did not say that.
It is in there. We'll
talking
find
about
it.
You see,
economics.
again, liberals. They
Okay.
just make it up. It's
Well, I
like,
happen to be a
What site is that?
And I'm saying I don't.
ESPN.
Is that Media Matters?
am I supposed to trust ESPN? Are
Okay,
you-
is
are you just joking?
Is ESPN part
It's
of the
too liberal,
liberal?
right? It's too liberal.
Liberal
I'm
media bias?
I'm reading the official Hawks email.
No, well,
Okay,
you don't
that's
think that
what
would be
I'm
cleaned
reading.
up?
Okay, let's move
It's
into
not
something
clean.
that
Okay.
we're
You don't think
talking
that would
about.
be cleaned
Before
up?
All right, now.
the 50s, we had single-member districts.
Why
In
don't?
Florida, we went back to at-large voting. Why
Right.
was that done?
But does it make a difference
Why
if
does
black
that
people don't
done?
vote?
No, it probably doesn't. And that's something we have to work on. You're
Exactly.
Right.
So you
It's
are-
something we have to
Thank
work
you
on.
are-
But if we can get a smaller amount
Uh-huh.
out to vote, single-member districting is what we should be voting yes for.
I agree. All right, this is Politico on CTV1. I am RJ, and we've got Earl, and we've got Arvella. Guys, we're going to be right back. Now, we're going to wrap up our last two segments. We're going to talk about Andrew Faust Jr. Also, there's a girl fight that we really want to address, and some comments that were made by the very beautiful and very intelligent white lady known as Laura Ingram.
Oh boy.
Wow.
We'll be right back.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
This is Politico on CTV One. I am RJ, along with Earl, and Arvella, Clare. 2 against 1, but that's all right. There are several things that we need to discuss, okay? But we're here every week. We're here. Hopefully, we will start getting it going at 6:30, but it's live, so technical issues and certain people running late causes the issue, okay? So, but we will get there. We're working out the kinks still. Yeah, I see that. Okay, now, we have 2 gentlemen that were arrested this week. The man just bringing the black community down. Jeremy Irons, who is 31 years old, and Thomas Edison, who is 34 years old, were arrested this week. Now, full disclosure, I know both of these gentlemen. I knew both of them when they were much younger. I know their families. I know that their families tried, okay? These kids had issues. I guess I shouldn't call them kids anymore. Can't help it. But they killed a 5-year-old in a drive-by. Okay? They kept making decisions that were detrimental not only to themselves, not only to their family members, but to our community also. And now they may end up paying the ultimate price. Allegedly, they did a drive-by in which 5-year-old Andrew Faust Jr. Was killed in the Dunbar area a few weeks ago. Now, these 2 gentlemen are products of our community. Now, here's my issue with it, and I'm going to keep going back to it, because when we talk about liberalism, okay, we talk about not empowering people. My opinion, I should say. Okay,
that sounds a lot better.
In my opinion, liberalism is by design meant to not empower people as individuals. It's all about the group. Okay, we are so afraid to say that these people are not of us, that the ones in our community that probably could make better decisions don't do it. The reason that they don't do it is because they realize that they're going to be accepted anyway. I have long said, and I'll continue to take flack about it, all this stuff, I worked with kids for 20-something years, okay? I think I did a very good job of it. I have parents who still thank me, and I'm not bragging, I'm just giving you a little background on it. Parents who still thank me for the work and the time that I put in with their children, and also those children, now that they are grown, who also thank me. I am the first person now to say that you can give up on a kid. There are so many of us that refuse to say it. Why do we refuse to say it? Well, because if you just save one of them, that's enough. No, it's not. No, it's not. We, at some point, are going to have to start ostracizing and saying that we are not going to accept this type of behavior in our community. And until we do this, my opinion, we are going to keep creating people like Irons and Thomas Edison.
Now, I was a juvenile counselor for over 10 years, and I don't agree with your statement.
Okay.
I think parenting has a lot to do with what's happening with our young people and the fact that they aren't abiding by the rules and they aren't behaving in a socially acceptable manner.
Like killing people.
You know, like killing people. Right. I think that's something we all have to be concerned about. But it also takes not only those parents doing what's needed to be done, it does take the entire community.
Takes a village.
We've got to make
Yeah,
sure
see?
that these children get an education. When you're out there on the street because you have no skills and no opportunity to make any money any other way than through crime, guess what's going to happen? These kids are on survival mode. But we bear some responsibility in that as well. If we're not ensuring that they receive a quality education and the tools that they need to be successful as a society, we are failing our young people.
I think
Socialism.
this is and I am the only progressive Democratic leaning voter on this staff. If you want to be out there
No,
as far as
that
that's
was socialism.
concerned, I own up to. But liberalism is not about the group.
Really?
I think it's the opposite.
That's the first I've heard of that.
I think in
Do
if
tell.
anything, conservatism is about the group, not the individual. Because who is talking about, no, you can't marry, this man can't marry this man?
Absolutely.
Is it the liberals that's saying that you can't marry who you love, women or women? No, it is not. It's not the liberals saying that what you do in your house and everything else is fine. That's you. You can do what you individually want to do. That's fine.
Really?
But who has a problem with that? The group of conservatives that don't believe that Adam and Eve is supposed to be Adam and Steve and all that other kind of stuff like that. So I find that the saying that it's about individualism, every individual counts. I think everybody has a good, valid viewpoint, and everybody's welcome. Whether you think like me, whether you worship like me, that's fine. You're an American just like me, and we can work together.
And it has
I've
nothing
seen-
to do with political
It most
affiliation.
certainly-
But
It
most
most
of
certainly
but
does,
conservatives.
and we
Let me
got-
finish. Let me
here's the-
finish.
and
Let me
now-
finish. Let me
here's the
finish. Let me
thing.
finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. When it comes to things like gay marriage, when it
Okay.
comes to things like freedom of religion, things like that, Bible, prayer in school, and things like that, it is the
Choice.
conservative group that's saying you should not have a right. You should do what we want you to do. You should not express yourself. You should believe the way we believe, because this is the way we're raised, and we have more votes than you, so you don't have a vote. So if you win, then this is what we want, and this is what we want in our areas.
Okay.
So tough.
Okay, now, let me address that real quick, and I promise we jump into the next topic, Bishop. So what you're saying is that if someone does not believe in homosexuality, and that it should not be okay under our Constitution, that they're wrong for that.
No, I'm saying that those gay people, those lesbian
They
people,
have a right
those
to
trans-
marry.
they
Right?
are as American
Right?
as I am. They have as many
So,
rights
okay, and I agree.
privileges.
No.
just
I
like
heard
do.
all of that. I heard
Okay.
all of that.
All right.
So when you go to church tomorrow, and the gay guy gets up to sing, and the guy that wants to be the assistant pastor that's gay and came out and everything, he wouldn't be ostracized out of the church, right? Out of the black church that's predominantly demographic, right? Now, and I'm gonna let you respond
Here you
to
go
it,
with
okay?
that.
With the individual taking personal responsibility instead of saying that, oh, it's up to all of us to educate our kids. Again, group think. No, it's not. We spend so much time trying to save people like Edison and trying to save irons, keep them in school. Let's spend all these millions of dollars. Jump into the next topic. Miss School Board member, what happens if instead of us spending all this money to keep kids in school who don't want to be there, we start taking that money and putting it towards the kids who are C and B students to push them up to being A's instead of trying to chase after the kids that are about F's and their families or them don't give a doggone about education. What happens then? How uplifted would our community be then? It's about personal responsibility. As Laura Ingraham said this week, many Democrats
Try to get away with
Don't
that.
wanna-
You're not going to
Yes.
get away with that.
Many
We'll come back to
Democrats
it.
don't want to leave the plantation because why? The white masters won't let them. So what do? Well, every individual counts. No, they don't. Okay? You shot a 5-year-old. You don't count anymore. You sold drugs in the community. Guess what? You don't count anymore. We have to start admitting that there are certain people that don't give a damn about any of us. They are so selfish. They are so without conscience that we need to say, we don't have time for you. Here, walk the plank, jump off the bridge. You don't got to go home, but you got to get out of here.
We're not arguing
yes,
with you
y'all
about
are.
that
Y'all
point.
just said that the
No.
group. Y'all just said
What
that y'all
I'm
not saying
saying-
that the group is responsible for educating
No, what
the
I'm
community.
saying
No,
is,
we're not.
No, what I'm saying is this is a society. Whether you like it or not, it's a society. And what makes
With
up a
laws
society?
and rules.
Absolutely.
Right.
And if you choose not to abide by those rules, as
Like going
if
to school.
in public education.
Like going to school.
Exactly. I'm
Like
with
studying.
You. Absolutely.
I'm not spending no
There
money to come
should
chase you.
be- There
Go
should be
ahead.
consequences.
Go ahead.
And
That's
you
more
can't
job
say-
security for my daughter.
If the issue,
You go ahead.
If the issue was that we're not investing in those criminal children in our public school system, then I would say you have a point.
But we are
that
investing
is not
in
the
them.
issue. We are not investing in the majority of children in our public schools because the
'Cause they're not
resources aren't
there.
going where they should
'Cause
be.
they're not
and they
there.
are there.
I
Those
have
students are there.
so many
85,000 students are there, and we're not using our money to invest in our students.
I agree. The ones that count. We are spending our money on the kids that count.
Let me address
Not
They
the
that.
all
thugs.
count, and it's
Let me-
our
No,
job
they
to come
don't.
up with
Let's-
solutions
let's
to
address
keep
that.
them engaged
Let's
in
address
gaining an education.
Well, they need
That's
to
our
stop busting
responsibility.
rocks and
How do we?
picking up fields.
And they do
In
that
your
when they
society.
go to
Orange,
prison.
they're going. So
Can
why
I
waste
say something,
time?
please? Let me.
Send them to prison.
let
That's
me-
why we have a court system,
let me
a legal
interject.
system, to penalize those people
Thank
that
you.
violate
You
the
and I are
laws.
right there then.
Yes, with
How, in your mind? Well, let me. I always have to bring it back to home, to my home in East LA. My daughters are blessed to have myself and my wife that are college graduates. My wife's a teacher. I'm a financial advisor. We have we've worked, and my parents have done what my wife's parents have done what they needed to do. If
And they were
I was
liberal.
not,
And they were liberal, okay?
if
Yeah, that's
if
'cause
I
they're
was
guilty.
not, if I was
The white
not,
man won't let them up nothing?
if I was not home to help my daughter with that hard behind math homework every night and check on it and do everything else like
Right.
that, there is no way she will be able to continue
Well,
to
what's
do
your
it in the
point?
education that she's doing. My point is this: if Jeremy and Thomas and all those other those boys and those other kind of things like that, are they animals and all the other kind of stuff like that? They've
Yes.
been arrested over 50 times.
Yes.
What do you do? Do you think that they had those same opportunities to have
Yes.
those same people there to
Yes.
back them up and everything else like
Yes.
that? They made a choice to do what they needed to do.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fine. They will pay their crimes for what they did.
Right.
However,
I don't believe
your
that.
society
He doesn't
is,
believe that.
your thought is that
He doesn't
we can
believe
give up on these kids. All right, you got C's and D's in the third grade. Go ahead and start digging grades. We'll go ahead and throw you in jail now.
Right.
We'll go ahead and do all that other kind of stuff. We'll give
Right.
up on you now.
Yes.
That is, I don't know.
Why?
you-
Because
But
if we
that
save
is
just
not-
one
But
of
that's
them,
the system
that
we
is
have
not-
in
save
place.
just
That's
one
the
of
system
them.
we already
That's
have.
the system
No, it's
we
not.
have
the
in
Guys,
place.
prison
it's
pipeline
not.
going
I'm
already.
sorry, that is not true.
You
What
are-
That's
happens
not the
is-
type of,
Aren't
that's
you
not the type of
opposed to
system we
public
have.
education?
I'm not opposed to public education.
That
I
is-
think that I'm a product of public
That's
education.
not-
Okay, that's no slight against public
What
education.
about a charter school? Where are
I'm
your
not-
children?
am I okay with my daughter? My daughter is in public school. Charter schools,
What about the
I'm
rest
okay
of
with them. I like charter schools. I think that they are very important. Okay.
Yes.
But here is the issue, guys. Either we start saying that we're going to let these people go. Somebody got to make. If it has to be conservatives that make the tough choices, I'll take that on. Okay.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
But somebody has to say, look, my money, my millions of dollars, I'd rather them go towards the C and B students that want to learn something than keep going after these kids. We have a school that we're operating in this community right now that has holding cells. Holding cells.
Absolutely.
Okay? Why? What are they holding them for? Prison. They're going to prison
Absolutely.
because they don't care. But you know, if you save just one from prison, wait a minute. You
No.
want us to spend $35 million to save one?
No, what
Okay,
we're
let's
saying-
take that $35
that's what
million.
we're
That
saying.
makes absolutely
What
no
we're saying-
sense.
What we're
You're
saying
You're right.
is the
You're right. It makes no
majority-
sense
no,
to spend that money on
no.
those kids
What we're
and
saying
chase
is the
after them.
majority of children in the public school system
Again.
are failing, are struggling,
Again,
are
they're
going to end up
group.
in those
They are
holding
not, guys.
cells.
Guys, they're
because
not.
we're not making the investment in the children that gives them the support that they need to be successful and stay engaged in school. Those kids were probably dropouts and they didn't have the parental support. That was one of the things you talked about, how you invested in them.
Mom and dad
You
at home every
invested
night,
in
helping them check them, do their homework,
Okay.
and all that
All
stuff.
right, now let me ask you a question.
I'm asking,
really
no,
quick,
that was
because
my
I wanna-
question.
No,
No,
I
can you
wanna
answer
go
my
back
question
to
before you ask that
I'm
one?
answering it. I'm answering it.
Yes, they had
You and
parents
your
at
wife-
home every night
No, hold
to help
on.
them with their homework. That's my question.
Willie, here's
That-
the thing.
I heard
Here's
his
the thing.
question. Did you hear his
Did
question?
they have? Yes, they did. They had someone there.
Mom
the
and
problem
dad.
was
They helped
they,
them with their homework.
parents
With their
died early.
No,
Not Irons, but the mom for one of them died very early.
So
but
no.
here's the thing.
So
So no, they did not have the support
Yes,
my kids had.
yes. Y'all won't let me answer. Y'all said you won't answer that question.
You got to stop
I'm-
screaming.
I'm telling
Is that
you.
a conservative
Because
thing?
yes,
Just
we have to get over the liberals. The thing about it is, you and your wife waited until you had an education to have kids. Did you not?
Yes.
Did you not? No, don't,
Yes.
don't.
Yes.
Please don't go back to.
Yes.
Listen,
And we all
I
My
have life.
parents did.
I answered your
Okay.
question in one word. I said
My
yes.
parents did.
Okay.
You still haven't
My
really, you
parents
kind of
did.
went
I
around
did
the
answer
question.
it.
Eventually, you had to pull that out of
Yes.
you.
No, I said
We had to pull that out of
Yes.
it. I said, did they have a mom and dad
I
at
thought you
home
were talking
every
about
night
you.
to help them with their homework?
I
That
thought
was
you were
my
talking
question.
about
was.
you. Yes, they had the ability, guys.
No.
They had,
Did
God,
they
good
have-
gosh, are y'all listening to me?
No.
No, you're
Okay,
not
I'm
answering the
trying to
question.
tell you. Yes, they had that. They had after school
That
program.
helped. The
Good God,
parents,
guys, listen.
Parents that
Let me
helped
say
them
that
with their
again. I'm going to
homework.
say it even slower. Did
Parents.
they have parents at home, mom and dad at home, checking and helping them with their homework
Yes.
every
Now,
night?
And here
Yes, they did
I
have
have answered
parents.
that. Willie, good God.
But then you
man.
said
How many times
that
you
one
want
of
me
them
to answer
mom
it?
died earlier.
like
Now
that.
you're saying they have
Right.
some mother support system they had after school. and all
They
that stuff.
did.
That's
He's
not
in
what I
denial.
asked you.
Okay,
I
but
didn't ask
your
you. I
point,
said-
I'm going back to your point about you and your wife being a mother and father, okay? Now, I'm going to take it all the way back because, like I said, and I'm going to put it back to what you guys said about liberals not saying it's all about the group. It is about the group because you just made my point. It's not about you and your wife. It's about that sister that went out when she was younger, got pregnant, had kids, had 5 different kids with their own daddy. Everybody in the house got their own daddy, as I heard a friend of mine say. And they continue to make bad choices. And we keep saying, well, you just got to love them. No, guys, at some point, you got to cut the cord. And if you don't, then our resources, our treasure is going to continue to go down the toilet because we ignore the average students. We either are putting our emphasis on the very smart and intelligent kids, or we're putting it on the kids who are failing and we're chasing them down with our resources. At some point, we've got to cut the cord and say, look, this is what we're going to invest in. Either you get on this side of the line or you stay on that one. But this whole thing about, oh, it takes the village, we're going to let that go. At
And
some
let
point, we got to do that.
individuals make choices. Let people be responsible
There
for
you
their
go.
own bodies and
There
their
you go.
own decisions.
I agree.
That's something
You and I are there.
conservatives should agree
But-
on.
We agree with that
we need to-
100%.
But-
Not all conservatives.
All the conservatives
You can
agree
be
with that
pro-life and
100%.
say, hey, we don't want
But-
you to
Well,
make your
yeah,
own
no,
choice.
no, no,
and
no,
your
no.
How
own
does that
decision.
Well, I
fit with
want you to
Jeremy
make a
Irons and
choice.
Thomas Edison?
I want you to make a choice
How does that
about
fit
who you're
with
going to
them?
lay down with. I want you to make a choice about who you're going to lay down with before conception.
Choose.
So choose to do the
let
right
the
thing.
public school
Either
system
either they
educate
had
our
a support
children.
system
We're not
at home
choosing to do that
or
in
they
the
didn't.
abstinence
Which
on
one
the-
is it?
with
Because you're on both
abstinence
sides of the
on
I
fence
agree.
right now. Which side of the fence are you on with them? Did they
What do you
have
mean?
that support system at home or did they have different daddies?
Good God. Again, it's about, I'm going to try and
I'm trying
answer
to turn
this
it
slowly
back to
because
what you said.
I'm going to answer it slowly for you because you apparently can't understand what I'm saying, okay?
No.
And I don't have any other language but this Southern drawl English that I have.
Yes.
Jeremy Irons and Thomas Edison had opportunities at home to be home and to learn. They had, especially Thomas Edison had an aunt that was dedicated to helping her family because his family died at an early age. He didn't want to be there. That's how I got involved with the family.
had
Okay?
an aunt.
Now, so he had.
Let's go on
Again,
to Laura
he
Ingham.
tried
Let's switch
to.
it. Let's switch it.
And it kind of rides right in the same
Absolutely.
context with what you guys said. When you start talking about conservatives don't want people to have their religious freedom, that's not conservatives. That's religion. Guys, that's religion. It's religion that will. I'm on it. I don't know what other topic we got.
Yes,
What
Laura
other topic is
Ingham.
it?
Laura.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're talking about love.
When we start talking about conservatives telling folks that this is what you need to do as a group,
With your body.
that doesn't. No, that's not what happens. Here's what's happening. Okay, and I'm gonna
Tell me.
again. You guys are liberals, so I'm gonna try and say this slowly. When Laura,
I am not a liberal.
Okay.
Will you stop
well,
it?
you have liberal tendencies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, when we start talking about making decisions and taking personal responsibilities, that is not a liberal cause. And the reason that I say that is because what liberals more than anything discuss is how, you even said it at one point, it takes a village. All of us need to get together and raise the kids. I don't want people in the village.
That's the
I got
definition
people
of
in
a
the
society.
village that if they talk to my
we
daughter,
still
I'm getting a
are
baseball
in this
bat.
community.
But
This
no,
is a society.
Of
It is about us.
individuals.
Let me tell you how
Yes,
you're being
individuals.
hypocritical right
Absolutely,
now. How you
absolutely.
being-
individuals.
This is how I see it. Are you responsible for your seed and that's it?
No, that's not what I said.
No,
See, this is
no,
what
no, no, no,
liberals
no, no,
do.
no.
They
No.
hear what they want to
I'm
hear.
sorry, you cannot talk for 10 minutes and let me get one question out, and then you start
But
again.
you asked me a
I asked
question.
you a question, but you were about to take off again.
No, I just
My
wanted to know
question-
what is, okay.
That
what-
is at the heart of the matter, where it takes a village to raise. I have my children that I'm responsible for. I have kids in my church I'm responsible for. I have kids in school. I have kids that are not my seed, that had nothing to do with. I ain't lay with their mama. Sometimes don't even know what their mama look like. But I am involved in more than just my kids in my home.
Okay.
I'm involved. I'm a part of that village.
How are you
There are
saying
people
what's
that.
different from what I just said? That's what I
Oh,
want
you
to
said
know.
original accountability. You saying that it's trying to save the group and everything else like that. It's individuals
Right.
need to be. That's
Well,
not.
in a community,
As
we have to
individuals-
invest in each other.
Right,
We
okay,
have to
okay,
invest
and
in
I'll
each
let
other.
you
And
say
you've
that.
done that before.
But
You've worked with
individuals-
other people too. Have
Our
you worked with other
social
people
structure
before?
does. That's
But
what our social structure
If you have helped other people before, you're a part of that village too.
No.
Let's go with
Again,
Laura Ingram's statement. Let's
Okay.
hear that.
That
because
has
that
to
was
do with
shocking
it.
in itself.
That goes into it. The plantation that Laura Ingram was speaking of is that when we, as an African American, if I come out, and I voted for Barack Obama twice, okay? If I come out and I say I didn't agree with something that President Barack Obama did, I will get, Uncle Tom, you don't like, you are conservative, you don't like President Obama. And it's because we're supposed to go the full ticket. Either you are all in or you are all out. And now, I'm not Charles Barkley, and I'm going to paint the entire black
He's also a
community as
Republican.
doing
He's
that.
also a conservative Republican, by the way. He
And
ran
he's
for
also-
governor.
And he's also very dumb. There's a
Yeah.
lot of very dumb people on both sides.
He's liberated.
But the whole point is that when you talk about a plantation mentality, that's exactly what that is, guys. When you say that, the village is supposed to do it, and I take responsibility, and you doing that, it's fantastic. But I bet you this, you won't bring home some joker who at 12 or 13 years old had a gun to study with your daughters. You're not going to do that because you're going to say, no, I can't have him in my house. Again, at some point, we have to have the courage to say, I'm letting it go, that I'm not responsible for him. I've tried. I've done what I can do. We've invested enough. Let's turn this over and start putting it somewhere else. Laura Ingram is saying that we refuse as a group to do that because we eat our own when it comes to black conservatives. Colonel Allen West was one person that
Oh,
she
my
quoted.
God.
See? Now, he's not supposed to say what he says.
Listen, Colonel West.
Maybe he finds what he says offensive. You know,
Okay.
it's part of being an individual, regardless of what your party affiliation, is being able to decide, make decisions independently. And we see all too
But we don't.
often, that this county, what is it? It's conservatives, it's Republican, and it's been Republican for the past 20 years. And if a Republican is running and supported by the Republican Party, Republicans vote in lockstep. Not because this is the best person for the job, but it's because that's what other Republicans are supporting for. That's something we have to do as conservatives. We have to realize you have to be independent. I like the Conservative Party because I like the conservative values. And I was part of the Democratic Party my entire life. I've never experienced racism like I experienced
Being a
as
Democrat.
a Democrat.
Yeah, right.
So I'm with you in terms of, yes, party affiliation has
really?
nothing to do with whether or not, you're going to be included or whether there's no racism or whether you're racist. This is about individuals and individuals having the courage to make their own decisions about who they think will be the best representative for them.
Beautiful.
What I understand, you have the right to be whatever you want to be.
Okay.
Absolutely.
However, you have to, what I say, you got to dance with who bought you.
Okay.
You heard that before?
Yes, sir.
You've heard that when I rode
Love
with
the one you're with. Got you.
Love the one you. No, I'm not saying that. Here's my issue. Here's my issue with Allen West. Here's my issue with all of these other conservatives, extremists on that side, Herman Cain and all these other guys.
Herman Cain is
that
an
have,
extremist?
Yes.
Yeah, 999. Yeah, that's extreme.
999 was extreme?
Yes, that was.
It was stupid, but it wasn't extreme.
It was extremely stupid.
Okay, we're going to agree
That's
on
from a
that.
video game.
Okay.
Okay, that's extreme.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
we can go on that.
So here's my problem with black Republicans that come to me and say, Frederick Douglass was a Republican. Martin Luther King Jr. was a Republican.
No, he wasn't.
Martin Luther King Jr. was, and to turn around and say, at what point, and just Lincoln freed the slaves. He was a Republican. All this other kind of stuff like that. I'm sorry. Did we skip the 60s at all?
Did you hear that come out of my mouth?
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about my viewpoint of certain, not all, but black Republicans that can try to act like all of this Democrats are the ones that did this, and Democrats did that, and Democrats did this, and act like the party switch that happened in the 60s didn't happen. Now, that's my issue. I have problems with people that try to act like the last 50 years of people fighting conservative under the conservative, whether you're a conservative Democrat or a conservative, but just all of that other fighting against segregation, fighting against integration, all these other kind of stuff like that. The Southern white strategy and all that, that was just a figment of our imagination. They try to act like none of that happened. Or those were back in the day. Now there's no racism in the conservative party anymore. We're a new party now, and all that other kind of stuff. Can you admit there is a segment that have acted like the last 150 years didn't happen, and we're still there. That's my issue.
There's a segment of African Americans,
and that's where
like
Allen West
150 years didn't
falls
happen.
with me.
You're absolutely right. I agree with you.
That's my issue.
Yes, sir.
That's my issue with those people that act like,
the last 150
this has been the
years didn't
best.
happen.
That was back then, but now things have changed. Name one black Republican senator since Adam Clayton Powell.
Tim West.
That was elected.
Yeah, he was
elected.
Yeah, Tim West.
Elected. No.
Tim West was elected. Yes.
He was special election.
Cory Booker had a special election to become
special election. No.
Tim West of South Carolina was elected.
No, he was appointed first.
No,
right?
he was elected. No, he was elected
for a 4-year term.
Yes.
6-year term.
6-year term. Yes, he was elected. Now,
let's go back.
Which
let's
party?
go back.
Which party?
Let's go back.
Had the only open leader of the Ku Klux Klan? That would be the Democrats.
Which one?
That would be Mr. Byrd.
Which
Mr.
one?
Mr. Byrd, who just died about 4 years ago.
And
what
was the Democratic Party then?
Did you hear what I said?
Did you hear what I asked?
Led the Ku Klux Klan.
Do you hear what my question was? Which Democratic Party was that?
Oh, so the Democratic Party can change.
Which Democratic Party was that?
The Republican Party can't.
Which Democratic Party was that?
That was like I said, he just died. He just left. He died while in office.
And he continued to have those racist
Look,
opinions.
I'm sorry. Once you put that sheet on, you can't come to my house for dinner.
Oh.
It's not happening.
So those conservatives that had a sheet on their head, they can't take theirs off now?
No.
David Duke and all those guys?
No.
You can break bread with David Duke.
No, I can't.
But you can't break bread with Byrd.
No. I can't break bread with any of them.
Okay, well.
I'm not putting up with racism from white, black, Hispanic, anyone.
Don't paint that one person as the Democratic Party is the party of the Ku Klux Klan like you just did.
No, you just said,
you just tried
said that the Republicans had all of this, and I just pointed out that the only party to have an open, who had a leader of the Ku Klux Klan was the Democrats. And he served 8 terms in office.
Did he
So
continue to push those Ku Klux Klan policies entire time, those 8 terms?
I'm sure when he would
That was
walk
a
in
yes
front
or
of the
no?
camera, yes. If you are pushing a Democratic agenda, you are most certainly pushing those terms.
So Democratic agenda
the welfare
is the KKK.
system that was started under the welfare system that was started under Lyndon B. Johnson has decimated the African American
And
family.
that's a byproduct of the
Democrat,
KKK?
I'm sorry, what?
That's what you're tying that into Byrd and the Democratic Party and the
You
KKK.
were just mentioning racism in the conservative
No, I'm
party.
just saying that I'm following along your logic, where you're going. You said Democratic Party, the KKK, Byrd, and now you're saying about some other kind of stuff that go with 1965.
Right. The Democrats,
So,
the Democratic Party, as Laura Ingraham has said, that she was right about, the Democratic Party has continued to push issues that are decimating the African American community. Don't tell a woman what to do with her body. There are more black babies aborted every year than anything else. Again, the Democrats push that. So how can we be a part of that? You look at the fact that all these people, all these people,
you
it's
throwing
the
some
truth.
stuff out
Democrats
there
push
now.
what?
Oh, wow.
Democrats push what?
Abortion.
Abortion.
Yes.
Yes, I think women should have a choice and
Of
the
who
right
they sleep
to
with
any
before they
legal medical
conceive a
procedure.
child.
But
They-
here's
And
my
what
problem.
we
should
don't
have
want
the
as
right of
conservatives,
who they put in their
what
body.
we don't want as conservatives is for us to start expanding the government to the point where it's controlling or watching over
Right.
every
Telling women what to
woman's
do with their
pregnancy.
body.
And
We don't
nobody's
want
saying
that.
that.
Yes,
That's what you are.
Exactly
Who's
what we're
saying that?
When we're saying that we're going to control the medical procedures that you can have, we're going to
No.
we're going to
Late
determine.
term.
We're going to
Late term.
determine.
Again, liberals hear what they want to hear.
We're going
Late
to
term
determine
abortion.
whether or not
You're a liberal
you have
again. Here you go.
abortion.
You don't
We're
agree
going
with
to
him.
determine whether
You're
or
a
not
liberal.
that implanted, that fertilized egg is or is not a person.
That's gonna be
This
argued
is
from
legislation
now
that
on.
we're dealing with now, and it all impedes on a woman's right to choose, a woman's right to control her body. And conservative women are opposed to that as well.
Arvella, I
There
don't
are
agree.
conservative women that believe in choice, that believe women have the same right to control their bodies that men have to control theirs.
I agree
And when
with
we
you.
stop outlawing medical
Ooh.
procedures for men, then I'll consider you outlawing medical procedures for women.
Okay.
And
Now-
on part of that, there is a bunch of problems. They don't want women taking birth control in the Conservative
God.
Party, but they're fine with men getting
you
Where
Viagra.
did you get that from?
Well, that's true.
That's-
true.
No, what
you
we
don't
don't
think you don't
want-
agree with that?
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's
That's
wrong.
not true.
We're
What
trying
we
to
don't
limit
want-
access
Thank
to
you for
birth
admitting that it's
control.
wrong.
What we
We're
don't
trying
want,
to limit
what
access to birth
conservatives
control.
do not want is for me, as a conservative, to have to pay for your birth control. It
Oh.
has nothing to do with trying to say you
When
can't
do
go
you
get a
pay
condom.
for our birth control?
They would have that. This discussion
part of
centers
insurance.
around Obamacare
No,
and
no, no, no.
insurance,
Wait,
and the fact
yes.
that part of Obamacare says
But
that you need to
listen,
cover
here we go
contraceptives.
again. See, I'm a conservative, and I'm telling you there is something wrong with a man being able to go in and purchase Viagra with an insurance and a woman not being able to
I
go in
agree.
and buy contraceptives.
I agree.
There's
Neither
something
one of them
wrong
should be
with that.
covered.
And it shouldn't be a political
Neither
issue,
should
but
be
it
covered.
is. We've got Republicans saying that we're going to create legislation to make it so that women can't get their contraceptives through their health care.
And also, we
That's
have
wrong.
Democrats saying they're going to also push legislation to keep men from getting Viagra through it. I think that's perfectly
I
fine.
think they're
I
both
agree on
punitive.
both sides.
But
They're
I think-
both
are you in the
punitive.
minority
And
with
we
that?
shouldn't support either.
Again, and I'm going to tell you straight up, what I'm in the majority for, which I think all people are, is that you agree with a woman's right to choose.
Yes.
She needs to make better choices about who she sleeps with, not destroy a life after
That's
conception.
my
She doesn't
choice.
have anybody.
Again,
That's my
She doesn't
choice.
owe
She-
you or
As
anybody
long as
else
it's a legal medical
any.
You're
procedure,
right.
we
You're
shouldn't
right. That
be
baby, she's
re-arguing
aborting.
this.
That baby, she's aborting. You're right. We shouldn't even talk about
But you
it.
want to be involved.
But you want to bring them here and not have the social services in line to
Nope,
feed it
didn't
when
say
that
that.
parent
Yes,
Didn't
you
say
did.
that.
You should
When
say
that
we should
parent
throw them
doesn't.
away. We should put them in jail. We shouldn't waste our time with
Bishop,
them.
I
You
heard
heard
that.
this,
I heard
Bishop?
that. I heard that.
Bishop, did you hear me say that?
We heard
At
that. right?
any
Yes.
point, Bishop.
Yes.
Bishop, what did
Don't
I
get
say a
it.
half
Bishop is
hour
Bennett.
ago?
He not in it.
What did I say a half hour ago? That liberals hear
We
what
should
they
stop
want to hear.
wasting
Liberals
our
hear
money
what they
with
want to
these
hear.
no
Women
good,
here.
What I said-
sorry
What
kids
do
that don't want to
conservative
do.
women here
About what?
about our children and whether or not we should continue to invest in them?
Did I say we shouldn't
You
invest
said
in
the
children?
ones that
Did I say we
aren't
shouldn't
worth
invest in
saving,
children? Yep.
we need to
Yes.
let them go.
I said that there are
Lock
some
them
that
up,
we need to
give
say it's
up
okay
on.
to let go
My
of.
concern is who makes that decision on which ones we give up on.
The people.
What people?
What people?
The people in power?
The American people.
The people in
The
power.
American people. We need to start having an open and honest discussion about it.
Okay,
I
'cause
agree with you 100%.
people are already making
because
that
I know
And where
they're
would they
gonna
go?
start-
Wait a minute.
In your
Wait a minute.
society?
People are already making that decision right here in this community. It's called ALC, the Alternative Learning System. If you have a child that's acting up in class, they go to this prison system that's supposed to be about educating them, but is away from the general population, predominantly black.
Okay.
You know, we need to stop
again,
that.
Here
We
you
need
go.
to stop
See,
that.
this is how you guys do it. You want to say about emotions, about, we need to run out and save them.
Everybody
What I have
jump
talked
on
about
that
from
shit.
the very
Don't
beginning,
put 'em in
I didn't
there.
change
Don't
anything.
put 'em in there.
I didn't change
Don't
anything.
put 'em in there.
I said,
These
and I'm going to break it
institutions shouldn't be
down.
there.
I'm going to break it down very slowly. It is fiscally irresponsible
Yes,
to continue to put money into these programs if they don't work.
absolutely.
All right, this is
We are in
Politico.
agreement.
This is Politico
Got it.
here on Community TV 1. I am RJ along with co-host
Arvella, Clare.
Earl Sparrow. We're going to straighten Earl out eventually, okay? I promise you, he'll start to see the light.
And we're going to figure out how to invest in programs that actually work.
Thank you.
you.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking
We all
about.
agree with that.
So
We're gonna
this
take
is
care of
Politico, and we'll see you again next Wednesday. And remember, we're live here on CTV 1. Thanks.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV 1, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.